I've had a few questions lately about using cryotherapy or cold temperature exposure to treat things like inflammatory diseases. Cold water exposure is used a lot in athletic populations for recovery. I wanted to kind of answer the questions of whether it can be used for a sort of a systemic inflammatory disease, and particularly rheumatoid arthritis. And of course, this is not any kind of medical advice. It's just informational. I look into the research, see what's there, and try and relate that to people who want to listen. So in 2015, a study in Poland, led by the author Malgorzata, um, subjected some subjects. Now, these were postmenopausal women to cryotherapy for 2 weeks in addition to their physical therapy routine. So we had two groups. One group got just physical therapy, and one group got physical therapy plus cryotherapy. Now, this cryotherapy was specifically at 110, negative 110 degrees centigrade. What they did was they walked into chambers. They were wearing gloves, a headband to protect their ears, and a basic like swimsuit. And they walked into these pre-chambers, which successively cooled them until they got into an air-cooled chamber of negative 110 degrees Celsius. Pretty darn cold. They walked around in this chamber, did upper body movements for 3 minutes. And of course, this was in addition to their physical therapy, like I'd mentioned before. Interestingly enough, both groups, the physical therapy group only and the PT plus cryotherapy, both saw improvements in interleukin 6 and in TNF alpha. Those are inflammatory markers. TNF alpha, that stands for tumor necrosis factor. The cryotherapy didn't have a significant effect greater than just the physical therapy alone. But what it did do was it had some improvements on markers of pain. So since rheumatoid arthritis is, people with rheumatoid arthritis are very significantly reduced in their ADLs because of the pain. This was really quite an improvement. They improved in morning stiffness measures, and they were more likely to engage in activity. The theories go that they're better hormonal tuning. They actually get some endorphins secreted, which is the same as if you were doing an endurance activity. You get some endorphin release after you've been going for so long. There's some antidepressant action. We've seen this in other cryotherapies, in a sense, where we have temperature undulation throughout the day, and that really helps with depressive symptoms. So while it didn't help with the underlying disease or cure anything as far as rheumatoid arthritis, didn't even affect really the inflammatory markers, it did have significant effects on pain and function. So if that's where you're held up, that would be something that you could pursue if gaining access to a cryotherapy facility is not cost prohibitive or location prohibitive for you. So I hope that helps.